Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Tadeh Hakopian, and this is the importance of visuals in teaching code and reducing bias. Get going. The preamble here is that coding is permeating every kind of professional field you can imagine, and that includes people who are in the creative fields, designers, people who may not necessarily touch code because it's becoming more useful in the kind of workflows they adopt. And so you want to make people learning something new that may have no background in to feel more comfortable learning new things. And this is the story of how I did it for my company. In my experience, my profession, I teach people how to use coding, data, and what have you for building design and construction. And that includes architects with capital A who draw pictures of buildings. They do everything these days in 3D in these really sophisticated models that have lots of data and lots of graphical information in it. And they want to do more. They want to use better tools for energy modeling so we have a more efficient building. They want to use better tools for occupancy planning so the layout of the floor plans really efficient. But to get the most out of it, they need to learn a little bit about coding so they can interface with the APIs of these softwares. And that's our goal, is to teach them a little bit about coding. Basic level, just scripting, nothing production, just know enough to get going. Basic tooling, very, very straightforward to make the most of the existing software stack they have. Problem is we don't have a DevOps team, we don't have a big programming team. So in order to future-proof our operations and get the best results from our team, make sure they can do the best project they are capable of, we did teach them how to code, but not like the traditional coders. That's why avoiding the bias of teaching people a certain way as though they have a CS degree is critical because you might lose them real quick. People, even if they are technically savvy, even if they are pretty comfortable with sophisticated uh, project workflows, may be intimidated by something new like coding that they don't have any real firsthand experience of. And even with the best training system in mind, you might lose them because sometimes they feel like they're off to a decent start. There's a big gap, and before you know it, they feel like they're lost. They feel like there's not enough guidance there for how to work. So you want to remove these barriers and make them feel comfortable. So here's a couple of steps you can take. Make the first step non-intimidating. Make it so it's easy to get into. And then another barrier to remove is avoid too much text. Use visuals and graphics for people who like creatives, designers, what have you. Who are comfortable in seeing things and they don't have to abstract things into text and problem solving patterns yet. They might get there eventually, but not yet. And the more methods of training people, the better. You have to find your fit, make sure you have the right approach. Sometimes videos work, sometimes in person works, sometimes other methods work. You have to find your fit. And we realized that we had to get out of the way of not using text editors. That's not a good first step. It's going to freak everybody out to use a text editor. They're not going to understand this. It looks like the Matrix loading screen. So we had to find a better way. And visuals are a great way. Visuals can represent something like a Pythagorean theorem very efficiently in geometric, algebraic, or coding format. So visuals can actually be a great way to get started. In this case, for example, this is Python making a loop with an integer with a visual scripting medium. And that was our breakthrough. It's like, yes, visual scripting can be the key here. And where you can use visual scripting with the 3D software we have, in this case, an open source platform called Dynamo that can input both data and geometry into the common models we work with all the time. And in this case, we can create something with visual scripting in Dynamo of just connecting the points in a rectangle, processing them, and extruding them to create floors and walls. And before you know it, your wireframe becomes a building, 100-story skyscraper. You're ready to go production level. And from these little examples in Dynamo, we can start teaching people how to use Python script to get more sophisticated results, like looping, which is not easy to do with visual scripts, but easy to do in a coding language. And once we teach them that, they'll feel comfortable to take it from there and do more sophisticated workflows as they get the hang of things. And then they can really get into the gain of it, which is things like generative design, helping people create a better building, helping people create a better design without having to do it so much manually, getting better room adjacencies. And this is all starts with some very straightforward visual coding studies. And we even have our own good example here of using a energy-based study of a building to create louvers. All we did is we studied the sun path and energy gain of a building and create a louver system using a visual script. Very excellent result. And again, remove the barriers. Make the first step not intimidating. Use visuals, something easy to start with. Emphasize visuals. Find different ways to train people. Find your fit. Fill in the gaps. Give a hoot. And here's some resources that you can use to get going on this. And thanks, everyone. This is a great conference. I appreciate your time here. If you want to reach out, here's my contacts.